afternoon. I'm very happy that the voters in their wisdom assigned a 4-year term to the office of mayor, and so I'm not running for anything, including re-election at the moment. I'm just watching other people do that with my sympathy. What I'd like to do is maybe just reflect a little bit on the situation of our city in this long road that we are on together, and that in part we commemorate a milestone on that road today, 50 years after its passage. And it seems to me that in that long march, that long road, that we are constantly struggling to make the words real. The words on the page of the document, the words in the judge's decision, the words that we speak to one another. We are trying as a society to make the words real. Imperfectly, sometimes belatedly, but that's what we're about. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. Those are good words, except they got the gender thing wrong, but you can forgive that from the time, perhaps. We should correct that. But those were the right words. That was the right intention. And it took a war 100 years ago, 150 years ago, 100 years before the passage of the Civil Rights Act, to reinforce the reality of those words. As mayor, I work long days and don't have much trouble sleeping, but occasionally I will. And when I wake up in the middle of the night lately, I've been taken to rewatching Ken Burns' series about the Civil War, which is now 20 years, 25 years old, still worth watching. And that struggle to make those words real, and ultimately the words of the Emancipation Proclamation real, is to me one more milestone to be remembered and to be recommitted to. There's a word that we use a lot in community life now, which is equity. And our job in city government is to make that word real. Dante James, the director of our Office of Equity, is here, and he and his staff work hard to build that word into what we do. How do we train our city employees? How do we do our budget? How do we spend our money? And he and I and our team will be sharpening that tool as we develop the budget instructions for our bureaus this year. Let's make that word more real in how we evaluate our choices and how we spend our money as city government. There are other words that we're working on, including words that we're not going to ask, like banning the box. And we are going to give people who are returning citizens, not ex-offenders, returning citizens, the chance to achieve full citizenship. And I think some of you have met Judy Brosco, who's here working with Tracy Reeve, our city attorney, on that work. Judy comes with an amazing resume, and if you don't mind me saying, a perfect name for the work. Because we want people to prosper, and with your help, they will. Let me talk a little bit about the Police Bureau, another place where we're working to make the words real. We have a Department of Justice settlement with the city of Portland, and I embrace it because those are the right instructions to us as a community for how we try to exercise justice and de-escalation at all times for everyone in our community. And there are some things that I'm proud of and some progress that we should celebrate, just as we continue to recommit to continuing that progress and deepening it. We've achieved over the last several recruitments in the Portland Police Bureau the kind of diversity that, if sustained in those recruitments and their successors, will permanently and properly realign the Bureau to the now much more diverse city that our police bureau serves. But we have to do that again and again and again, and then retain those diverse, smart young recruits that we've been bringing in the last few recruitments. We've also been very purposeful in terms of diversity of promotions, but unfortunately didn't have a lot of opportunity to move forward. That is, we took the one Latino lieutenant, Derek Rodriguez, and we promoted him to captain. We took the one African-American captain, Kevin Modica, and he's now a commander. But behind them are not ranks and ranks of other captains and lieutenants, but there will be and there should be if we sustain this progress. We've made some real progress in how we're training people. I had that opportunity, and I wish all of you could, to watch one of our young officers in the training division, a young man named Derek Foxworth Jr. Some of you know him, and some of you know his father. His job, one of his roles in training is to play act in scenarios that involve mental illness, to teach de-escalation tactics to his fellow officers. And I got the chance to watch Officer Foxworth doing that work out at our new training center. And it's amazing. I mean, I don't want him to quit his day job and go onto the stage, but he was, one, very convincing, and two, fully into the role, and three, I think the subtext of having a smart, young, talented African-American officer teaching those skills to the rest of his colleagues is worthy as well. So I love seeing that progress, and in fact, as police commissioner, I get these daily reports of what happened overnight. And there are some silly things. You know, we have sort of a tally of the really foolish things that people do, like stealing 2 guitars out of the PacWest Center as the police chief and the assistant chief are driving down the street and the security guard is pointing them out to them, and then taking those 2 guitars to Petty Grove Park across the street from police headquarters to examine their booty. Not very smart. The police chief literally arrested that fellow and walked him across the street to the Justice Center. So there are occasional moments of hilarity in these reports, but the thing I see the most and that you will not read about is night after night, day after day, situations in which I see our officers de-escalating the situation, often involving mental illness. Won't be a story about it on the TV or in the newspaper because no mayhem ensued and no tragedy resulted. But time after time, I'm seeing the results of that training start to show themselves in what happens every day on the streets. Again, we're on a long road. We're not done, but I see real progress. We, in city government, have had some tough budget years. The first year in which I served as your mayor, we had a very tough budget year. We cut $21 million out of the city's general fund budget, and the police bureau was reduced by 55 positions. This year, we are adding back a single position to the police bureau, and it's for an equity manager. That is the one and only position that we are adding back to the police bureau. And as I understand it, we have just offered that position to a very talented individual who I very much hope accepts the position, and I think will make you proud of your city as that work goes forward. Some other work that we're doing and that there are partners here in this room working on, we signed up for an effort at the National League of Cities, really at the urging of Antoinette Edwards, our wonderful resource on issues of community life. And she said we should go for this, which is a program called Black Male Achievement, being led by mayors of 11 cities with partners in each of their communities across the country, where we both challenge each other to learn what works and to build the community partners to make things happen, and where we learn from each other. And I'm enjoying that work very much. I'm very heartened by it. I think we have a lot of the right people around the table, and we will keep gathering more to that work where we focus on education and the criminal justice system and family life and employment as the 4 critical areas where our young men of color need the community to come together and offer them more opportunity and different outcomes. And I think we have something there that will be powerful as long as, again, it's sustained over time with people other than just the current occupant of my office. All these things together, I think, can make Portland a city of opportunity, and I am encouraged by the progress that we've made. But even then, even now, as you look around, there is still racism with us. There's, unfortunately, still racism in our community. There was this unfortunate incident at Daimler, which is now under investigation, as it should be, where racist comments were made by one employee to another. That shouldn't happen in 2014, and yet it still does. We have a wonderful Latina at our front desk who has had to endure terrible comments about Francisco Aguirre over the telephone in our office. There's still racism in this community, and we need to confront that together and change it together. So my job, as I see it, is to try to make those words real in tangible, sustainable, durable ways, and to make Portland a city of opportunity, to make Portland a city where those words, liberty, justice, and opportunity for all, are real. With your help, we'll do that. Thank you very much, and I look forward to this discussion today. Thank you.